Good afternoon guys, welcome to another vlog. We are in sunny Blackpool and it has been sunny all week. It's been quite nice. We've just checked out of the Dutchman Hotel, the overflow car park this. So if there's no car parking at the hotel, you drive it down here and you can park on here. We've been invited to Tramtown, which is just near the car park. Always wanted to come here. We've been invited down here to see the old trams, the history, the Illumination trams. It's the big switch on tonight, so the illuminated trams should be out and about. Welcome to Tramtown. Look at this, this is cool. This is really nice. So they do tours down here. If you go to their Facebook page, I'll put a link in the description and you can book a Tramtown tour. And as you can see through the fence, the boat is out. I'm excited to look at the train as well. I can see the train just poking out there. There's a beautifully painted, hand painted as well. That was a Christmas tram last year. So they just changed the tracks down here. It's going to come back in. It's going to go down there. There's something about a tram, the sound it makes, the screechiness. It's proper retro.
That front line behind you.
This is a map of all the trams that are in the workshop. So how many trams are there in there at the moment?
I would say, John, how many trams are there in the depot?
About 50 odd. 50 odd.
So it's
quite a chunk.
Like
yeah.
So it's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
We've got 18 rows. And each row, each bit, we can get about 6 trams down it.
18 rows of 6?
Yeah. So
it's bigger than you think.
We've got 16 there, so we can get 6 trams down.
Yeah, sure.
Tram turning, so we need
right, yeah.
So it's a bit like a dodgem.
Yeah. See, that's good. That's good.
Getting ready for tonight, this. Looks so different in the light. On with the tour, we have John and we have Paul. And now that tram is going over there. It's going to reverse down here.
We do one tour on a Monday morning at 10:30, which is a full tour. Then on a Saturday, we do 2. We do one a full tour at 10:30. Then about 12:45, we take a family tour. On a family tour, it's a short version of it. It's only 45 minutes. We take them into the main tram depot, let them sit on the tram, go in the driver's cab, have photographs taken, then give information about the tram and also let them sit on a couple of trams as well.
And how long is a normal tour?
A normal tour can take up to 90 minutes, up to 2 hours, and a family tour is roughly 45 minutes or just over.
I have to ask the question, is the famous tram that killed Alan Bradley in here? No. It's not here. No. Right, I'm going home.
This is where all the trams come in to get maintained. This is what we call the electrical compound. So every 6 months, these trams need to have a full check over to make sure.
Like an MOT?
Yeah. So they get checked over for everything. So the lights, the electrics, and also in this gantry where I'm standing, they can put a tram here. If it's a pantograph issue, they can just bring the tram in, turn it, isolate the power off, and the fitter can get up the steps, take the planks of wood down, facing down. They can actually get onto the top of the tram and take the old pantograph off and put the new one on. As Paul was saying early on, it's like a TARDIS. At the front of the depot, you probably think it's not that big. Once you get inside, it's actually massive. Like I said, outside we have 18 rows here, and each row pits we can get about 6 trams down it. Some of the trams you're going to see this afternoon will probably not run again, which is in long-term store, and also waiting for future work to be done on them. So this is where we usually store them if the trams are not actually running.
So this is the 1952 tram, which was the coronation car.
Yeah, 304.
304,
Yeah.
and it was on television 2003 on the
Early 90s.
early 90s, was it?
Yeah.
On Salvage Squad, the famous tram. So as we look around, there's a lot of trams that are just not in service anymore. What's the long-term plan of these trams?
It's very much connected to our vision for Tramtown. So we're roughly dividing it into phases. The first phase is to relocate the engineering works into the first third of the depot. The next third will be the storage area for the depot, and the final third will be the exhibition hall, and that would be a mezzanine floored, 2 levels with cafe, shops and so on in it. And part of that will the income from those tours and that heritage centre will fund some of the restoration for some of the trams. Some of the trams may not run again, but they will become exhibits in their own right. So the ability to see what's behind a tram, how much wood's involved in the panelling and so forth is a real opportunity to showcase an issue which may to an ordinary eye look as a problem is actually a solution, because it gives you a working exhibit. So most of these trams will stay here. The crucial part of this though is that not only will we create this heritage centre, we'll put a new roof on it, we'll put doors on the front of the depot, and in effect what we'll be doing is protecting them for another 90 years.
This is the famous Rocket, last in service 1999. So the access point for this would be at the rear here.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the reasons why it's been decommissioned, because it had a rear entrance. So one day it will be revamped.
Yes, the plan is to get it revamped, and it will not carry passengers again. Our aim is to run up and down the promenade, all lit up, and carrying advertisements on its windows. Right, this is Coronation Tram 660. 25 of these were built in 1952, and there's only 3 remaining, and all the 3 are in this tram depot. This was in service until 2011, and after that, all the stock from the heritage trams, all the bits got stored as a storage unit. So a few of our volunteers in September decided to clear one end of this car racing tram, so we could actually make the public, the tourists, sit on it and tell them the history about the car racing cars. Well, the seats actually swing over. Well, if it's going to Bispham, I like the passengers at Bispham, then the conductor will get the points thing, change the points and put the tram on the centre track. When it's on the centre track, the conductor reverses the seats so they're facing the right way for its return journey back into Blackpool. In addition to the car racing cars, than the balloons. With a normal balloon tram, you just pull the windows down. With your car racing car, you just wind it up and down. It's a brake, so when the tram is parked, you put the brake on. When it's ready to move, you just turn this angle to turn it. And these are your controls to drive it. This big lever here, it's like your gear notches. We've got about eight notches, and also that's your brake sound as well. So when we're ready to slow down, we just use this as the air pressure and bits of the controller to slow the tram down. That is the sand pedal, because each tram has got a pipe at the bottom for the sand. And this one here, well, that one, is the horn. Some of these trams got converted to what we call these train cars in the early 90s. We converted them as a 2-car set, very popular for the tourists on a market day, because each carriage can carry 40 odd passengers, so the full tram can actually carry about 92 passengers. So these and the balloons used to take the full load to Fleetwood Market, drop them off there, and also bring them back into Blackpool. This one ran in service until 2011, when the traditional tramway shut down, and this became part of the heritage fleet. Then in 2012, it's had a makeover, had a repaint into this livery, got the corporation transport arms, and in 2016, this were on a heritage tour. Then it suffered an electrical fault at the Ginsway roundabout. So a guy from the hotel, he thought he was doing us a favour. Instead of using a fire extinguisher, he just came out with buckets of water, threw water onto the tram, onto a live wire, and the tram actually went up in flames. This side is actually perfect condition. The other side is trailer. The driver's cab is actually burnt out, and also some of the passenger saloon is actually burnt out, so that will need a complete rebuild and new electrics and rewired before it can go back into service. Right, and so in 2007, when they decided to build a brand new tramway for Blackpool, they started testing different makes of tram to decide which make to go for. So the tram behind me is a British made tram that came to Blackpool in 2008. In 2009, it went out onto the promenade. It wasn't in that colour when it went out, it was in green and yellow. So while we were out on test on the promenade between Collar Island and the tower, it suffered electrical fault, then it burst into flames. This is the illuminated other tram. This is the only double deck illuminated tram we had. It could carry 99 passengers. It ran until 1999. When it got withdrawn from service, it went to a museum in Glasgow, then it went to the Beamish Tramway Museum, then it went to an air museum in Sunderland, and the base at Sunderland donated it back to Blackpool Transport. This has been inspected by the light rail industry. There could be a possibility this could be rebuilt to make it health and safety, and the plan is to have another double deck illuminated tram running, as possibly like in a similar shape to this one. The tram next here is Bluecar 706. Originally this was an open top tram, and it was involved in a collision with another balloon car in 1980 at the Pleasure Beach. One tram were going on the southbound, going towards Stargate, and the other tram were coming off the Pleasure Beach loop to go back up back up to north. The conductor in them days forgot to change the points. So as it went along, both trams actually smashed into each other, collided, and both trams were actually badly damaged. And the future was unknown for 706. So someone came along and said, well, we don't make it into an open top double decker. So this is what we did, and it got renamed Princess Alice. This is due to go into the workshop pretty soon, because it's the underframe is from the 1930s. It's a bit worn, so it needs a new underframe. And also, while it's been stood in this depot, one side of it's got a lot of water damage, and it will need a lot of rebuilding work on it to go back into service. So one day this will run again into service. The tram behind her is our oldest tram in the fleet. That tram was built in 1901. It doesn't belong to Blackpool. It's actually a Bolton tram. It ran in Bolton until 1946, and when it got withdrawn from Bolton service, it became a chicken shed. Took its roof off. Then it got preserved by the Bolton Preservation Trust, and they rebuilt it back to that original condition, put a brand new roof on it, and that tram came to Blackpool in 1981 for a 6-month loan, and it's been here for over 40 years. And it was a very popular tram, used all summer on the promenade tours along with our open boats. So it suffered an electrical fault a few weeks ago. The controllers blew up, so it needs a lot of work doing on it before it goes back into service. So yeah, 1901 that tram was built, and it's still running today, and it's been in Blackpool for 40 years. The part you're standing in now, this is the back entrance of the electrical compound. On the beginning of the tour, I told you a bit of history about the front entrance of the electrical compound, and I'm going to tell you a bit of history about the tram next to me. The tram next to you is an open boat tram. There are 12 of these built in the 1930s, and there's only 4 of them remain in the UK. The other ones at the National Tramway Museum in Derbyshire, and the other 3 are in this depot at Blackpool, and the others, 2 of them are in operational in America on San Francisco. One's in store at the museum in Washington. At the moment we've only got 2 operational boat cars in Blackpool. This one next here needs a complete rewire with all the electrics. Since what happened to that train set, well, actually caught fire, so all the heritage trams we needed a rewire. So this started getting a rewire back in 2019, and other projects has come in priority to be done. This has been stuck here for about 3 years, and it's named after George Formby. George Formby had a thing traditional with Blackpool, so this tram we named after him. The other 2 trams, boat cars, has also been renamed. The red and cream one is renamed Charlie Caroli, which is the clown from the Tower Circus, and the green and cream one, 600, is named after the Duchess of Cornwall, the wife of His Royal Highness Prince Charles. Right, the tram platform I'm standing on is the standard 147. This was built in the 1920s at the Motherwell in Glasgow, and it used to run in Blackpool. Then they went to America to be run over there. Trouble is though, in America they never ran double deck trams, and it weren't needed. So he went to America complete. So to come back to Blackpool, he didn't come back to Blackpool complete. He come back in 2 separate orbs. He come back with no roof on it, and so no roof, and he come back lower half as well. So when he came back to Blackpool, he needed a lot of work doing on it. So he got rebuilt back into the original condition by the team here, and been repainted into green and cream. Then the seats on the inside downstairs are actually cloth seats, and actually on the upstairs is actually a wooden seat. This tram is runnable, and at the moment we're waiting for a new motor for it, because it's only got one motor at the moment. Each tram has 2 motors, so this is one motor less. So as soon as we get that new part, a new motor, it will be fitted on this tram, and this tram will be recommissioned to go back into service along the promenade. Right, 715 was built in 1934. There were a stream of balloons built by Ditka English Electric Motors at Preston at Shram Road. 715 is still an active tram, and it's due to be withdrawn from service at end of September to have a full assessment, because it probably needs a new underframe, because the underframe it's got on it at the moment is from when it was new in the 1930s. And on the inside it's got traditional seats, like swing over seats thing, and also this tram has got the ghost tram on its blind, because we do ghost tours, and 715 is actually used on the ghost tours. Only reason why 715 can be used on it, on the top deck we can dim the light bulbs, like dim colour, like to a greeny colour. So hopefully in a couple of years this will be back out into service after it's been restored, full repaint. Now you're stood at the front of the depot. At the front of the depot we've got quite a few trams. These trams at the front are operational. Firstly, I'm going to explain to you about the eliminated fleet. First tram is the famous Western train. That got rebuilt in the 1930s, and it got withdrawn in 2007. They looked in a sorrow condition. Then we applied to the National Lottery to see can they give us the funding for it to rebuild the famous Western train. Then yes, we got the funding. Trouble is though, when you get the funding, it had to go back into the original condition as it were in the 1960s, like original seating inside, original decor, and also carried the ABC television sign on it. The Western train is the only train what carried Cliff Richard up Talbot Road, along Church Street to the Regent Cinema, which was ABC Cinema then days. Next to it is the trawler. The trawler is rebuilt off a rail coach, 633. So that's been renumbered to 733. They got rebuilt, and it's been sponsored by Fisherman's Friend at Fleetwood. They pay for the overhaul, and they still sponsor that tram today. The trawler is the only eliminated tram we have, which has got the LED on it. It's got about 500 to 5,000 LED lights on it, and also we can program that tram into anything. So if that tram's hired for your birthday or your wedding, we can program it into computer and make it roll happy birthday along the side, or congratulations if it's for a wedding or any other event. And finally, next to it is the warship, which is F736. It's called the frigate. That got rebuilt in late 90s and got relaunched back into that original condition, and it's got the helicopter on the top, and it's got all the features, and also on the inside it's got like a horn like the ship, and also it's got signs inside, please wear life jackets, and also there's a picture of that particular ship inside the tram on the frame.
So we started this project to give the home of the heritage Blackpool trams a personality. Blackpool Transport's going through an amazing future. We're about to open our first tram extension in the future, next year. We're about to go to electric buses. But the question remained about what happens to our heritage fleet, and I'm a big believer that if we don't look after our past, we'll lose our future. So the purpose of Tramtown is to give the heritage trams a future where people can come and visit them. The money raised from those tours has been used to pay for an architect, a surveyor, and on the back of that we'll be able to do a lot of work now in terms of creating a true visitor attraction, which will probably be, if our ambition is correct, it'll do for Blackpool what the Transport Museum's done for York. So a year ago we opened. In that time we've now recruited 25 volunteers, and on the back of the work of the 25 volunteers we've started to restore the tram depot. So it's a brighter, cleaner, tidier place. The drains now work, it feels more inviting, we now have a shop. On the back of that work we now also have free tours a week on Wednesdays, Saturdays and Mondays, and in October half term we open for the full 7 days, and that's a major step because part of our vision as the Heritage Tram Centre we want it to be is that we will be open every day of the year and be a true all-round Blackpool attraction, not just a heritage attraction, not just a tram attraction, but a true true attraction that will bring people to the town, and not just from the United Kingdom but from all over the world, because what we've got here is globally unique and it needs protecting, and that is the true purpose of Tramtown and everything that we're doing here.
So we've had an excellent day down here at the Tramtown. I want to say a big thank you to Paul and John for taking us a tour of Tramtown. We're going to put all the links in the description. Get yourself down here. So the cost is £5 per adult and £2 per child. It's pennies. Get yourself down here. Tramtown near Manchester Square. Just follow the tram tracks. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like, subscribe, please leave a comment, and we'll see you in a future vlog. Take it easy.